So let's start rotating the dial. Do it in medium so you guys can see. And I'm rotating. Look at that. This is just so cool. This is so cool. So if I point it at the barn right there, let's go back to flood and rotate. Wow. Today I'll be taking a look at the Fenix LD45R with its digital zoom functionality. Let's check it out. This is everything the Fenix LD45R comes with. I'll give you a look at the box there, and on the back, typical lumens and runtime information. It comes with a nylon holster here, and I'm not the biggest fan of these kind of holsters, but it does feel nice and high quality. It has Velcro on the front, plastic D-ring on the back. Comes with an adjustable lanyard right here, not too terrible. It also comes with a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, a spare O-ring, some warranty information, some extra products from Fenix, and of course, the user manual. But let's put all of this off to the side right here, and I'll give you guys a nice close-up of the Fenix LD45R here. And while we're checking this out, let's talk about some of these features. All right, the Fenix LD45R has a maximum of 2,800 lumens, a max throwing distance of 480 meters, a max intensity of 57,600 candela, and a max runtime of 65 hours on eco mode. And pushing out those 2,800 lumens is a single luminous SFT70 LED with a color temperature of 6,500 Kelvin and a lifespan of about 50,000 hours. There's 5 cyclable brightness levels plus 2 special modes, strobe and SOS. And those modes are controlled with a single side switch. And surrounding the side switch is a mechanical rotary dial. And that rotary dial controls the digital zoom, where you can change from spot to flood just by rotating the dial. The LD45R also features an OLED display that reads out what level you're in, the lumen output, and battery life. The body's made from 6061 T6 aluminum and has a Type 3 hard anodized finish to help protect against scratches and abrasions. Inside, there's a 5,000 milliamp hour, 3.6 volt, 21700 rechargeable lithium-ion battery that can be charged with the USB-C port on the side of the body, or if you have a slot charger, it can be externally slot charged. It has a dust and waterproof rating of IP68. The 6 means it's completely dustproof, and the 8 means it's submersible in up to 6 feet of water. And it also has a 1.5 meter impact resistance rating. All right, let's talk dimensions. It has a length of 6.11 inches, a head diameter of 1.75 inches, and a body diameter of 1.26 inches. All right, let's weigh this bad boy. And yes, I am weighing this with the battery in it. It comes in at 10.6 ounces, so it's not the lightest flashlight in the world, and 10.6 ounces is 300 grams. Now, when I first read about the LD45R, I was pretty excited because I was really curious about this mechanical rotating dial that changes from zoom to spot. That's right, this dial has 270 degrees of motion and digitally switches the beam profile from zoom to spot, and it's all stepless. And I'll demonstrate that for you really quickly right here on my desk. So as I rotate this dial here, so you can see there's spot, and then it rotates out to zoom. This is all done digitally. Let me lift it up above the table so you can just get a better idea. Look at that. So there's spot and there is flood. It is a really, really cool system. So if you want something in between that flood and spot, just get it to about right dead center, and then you have something right in between there. So I think this is a fantastic feature here from Fenix. And dare I use the phrase game changer? I know I don't really throw that term around a lot, but when you have something like this, where you can just easily switch from spot to flood, just by rotating the dial, I mean, I would say that is a game changer. And while I'm here, I'll give you a look at that glass when I start to flood that out. So right there is full flood, and then I'll start rotating it, and there's full spot. And I've read that there is an electronic diffuser in there. And guys, I honestly don't know much about how they accomplish this. When I first looked at it, I figured that the LED was moving backwards and then moving closer towards the glass as I rotate the dial. But I can't really tell exactly what's going on in there. Unless, of course, I took this flashlight apart and started looking at the internals, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to contact my rep over at Fenix and find out exactly how they accomplish this digital zoom. But if you look really closely, as I go towards flood, it starts that diffusion process on that lens. It's really hard to see, but it is a really, really cool feature to see in action. Right there is completely clear, and as I flood it out, it starts to introduce that diffusion on the lens. It's just really, really cool. And as always, I'll take this bad boy outside and demonstrate the beams for you, but that'll be a little bit later on in this video. And the mechanical dial, of course, is surrounding that single side switch right there. So a single press shows your battery life, and if you press and hold, that'll activate the flashlight. But once again, I'll go over the UI a little bit later on once I'm done talking about the body here. So let me give you a close-up of this 6061 aluminum and the Type 3 hard anodized finish. Everything looks really, really nice. Typical Fenix quality here. And this light feels substantial. Obviously, it weighs 10.6 pounds. So it feels fairly heavy in the hands. Not incredibly heavy, but for flashlight standards, it's a heavy flashlight. So me personally, I wouldn't really carry this every day. I would probably just pop this in my car in a glove box or just my backpack. And I feel like this would be great for hikers, for campers. Would be a great exploring flashlight if you guys do any caving or anything like that. Oh, and law enforcement. I think this would be a great flashlight if you're in law enforcement. Just having the ability to change from spot to flood, I think would be really useful if you're a police officer. On the opposite side, you can see the USB Type-C charging port right there. That is protected with a rubber flap. And let me just take this battery. I already mentioned what the battery was. It's a 5,000 milliamp hour 21700, but inside here, you can see it's a single spring system. There's a spring right there in the tail, but inside there, it's just terminals down there. There is no spring. So I sort of wish it was a double spring system, but you can get along with just one to minimize any light interruptions if you have to use this in any self-defense situation or if you drop it by accident. And speaking of its self-defense capabilities, you can see there is no crenellated bezel, but this could still do some damage in a self-defense situation. That lens sits back about, I don't know, about 1/8 of an inch from the end of that bezel, and it has a strobe functionality. 2800 lumen strobe, it's really, really bright, and all you have to do is just press and hold the button to activate that strobe, but I'll go over that when I talk about the UI once again. And one of my favorite features that not many people care about, but I absolutely love it. You can tail stand it. I generally pass up lights that you can't tail stand, so the fact that this can tail stand is a huge plus. And let's go back to this OLED display here. So what I like about this OLED display is it shows the lumen step down in real time. When I was testing this out on turbo a little bit earlier, it showed the lumen step down as it happened, which is something I'm not used to when it comes to OLED displays on flashlights. It never shows the lumen step down in real time, and that only happened, in my experience, on turbo. So turbo started at 2800 and dropped to about 900. But on high, it started at 1000, and about 25 minutes straight of using the flashlight, it still showed 1000 lumens. And it stepped down differently based on if it was on flood or spot. So when I'm doing my test, I'll show them side by side in real time, and I'll show you the step down on both flood and spot mode. All right, let's talk about the lumens and runtime. 5 cyclable brightness levels: eco, low, medium, high, and turbo. Now, I should mention the lumens don't really change from spot to flood or the runtime. The only thing that really changes is the candela and throw. So let's start on Eco, 20 lumens and has a max runtime of 65 hours. So Eco is the lowest this flashlight can go, 20 lumens. I sort of wish it had a 1 lumen moonlight, but 20 is the lowest it can go. Low is 150 lumens and has a runtime of 16 hours and 40 minutes. Medium, the sweet spot, is 350 lumens, has a runtime of 6 hours and 40 minutes. High is 1000 lumens, has a runtime of 2 hours and 50 minutes. So I should say I didn't test the entire 2 hours and 50 minutes to see if it can sustain that 1000 lumens the entire time. I let it run for about 25 minutes to 30 minutes, and like I said, there was no loss at all. So in my opinion, that is a sustainable 1000 lumens. I don't know any scenario where I would run this flashlight for 30 minutes on high without any breaks at all. And then turbo, 2800 lumens, has a runtime of 2 hours and 40 minutes, but I know that's not true. You can see the double asterisk right there. That just means that's a total runtime from 2800 lumens all the way until it steps down, probably till it runs out of battery power. So on turbo, 2800 lumens. On spotlight mode is where you get the maximum 480 meters, and on flood is 164 meters. And then spotlight turbo is where you get the max candela, 57,600 versus flood, which is 6,750 candela. And then if you want to, just pause the video so you can check out all the differences with candela and throw with all the other modes from high to eco. Strobe is 2800 lumens, which is fantastic, a very nice bright strobe light, but SOS is only 150 lumens. I know there's advantages to having a low lumen SOS because it might save battery power if you are in trouble. But my theory is if nobody can see the SOS, it's basically useless. You're going to want a bright SOS so people can see it. So I would like to see a brighter SOS than 150 lumens. So let's quickly run down the UI. As I already demonstrated, a single short press when off, it shows you your remaining battery life. If you press and hold 1.2 seconds, activates the flashlight. Then after it's activated, just short press to cycle through all of the brightness levels. You can see 5 cyclable brightness levels, no double press for turbo or anything like that, so I like that. And as I demonstrated earlier, to switch from flood to spot or vice versa, just rotate that dial. When it's on, it's all stepless. It does have a memory, so right now I'm on mid, 350 lumens. If I turn it off, turn it right back on, it goes right back to 350 lumens. From on or off, if you want to reach the 2 special modes, just press and hold. Strobe warning, about to strobe my desk here. Press and hold, there's strobe. Short press to reach SOS. And then you can just keep cycling through strobe or SOS by short pressing, and press and hold to turn off. And it does have a button press lockout. From off, 2 short presses on that side switch, you can see the little lock. Now we're locked out. So if I try to activate the flashlight, it'll just flash. And to unlock, double press again, right there, unlock, and we're good. All right, so here I'm gonna run the flashlight in both spot and flood. And I'm gonna show you guys in real time. I might speed up the footage a little bit, but I'm gonna show you in real time the step down from 2800 lumens down to right around, I think it ends about 700 lumens. Put on the screen right now the time it took to dim from 2800 to 7 for both flood and spot. But I let this test run for about 3 to 4 minutes and then I stopped it. And I didn't record my high test, but just so you guys know, I did let it run for about 25 minutes nonstop. Invisibly, I saw no step down, and looking at the screen, it still said 1000 lumens after about 25 minutes. And here's the thermal image while on flood mode. I let this run for about 2 minutes. So I'll put on the screen what the temperatures were at the head and the body after 1 minute and then after 2 minutes. All right, let's do the beam demonstration. So I want to be quiet because I know that there was a family of deer right in front of me. And if they're still here, I want to catch it. So I'm going to start on flood. And I don't see them anymore. Right over here, there was a whole family of deer earlier. I was hoping I'd catch it for you guys. But let's start on flood, 20 lumens on eco. I'm not going to spend too much time here. Short press. Let's go to low, and I can see some eyes right in front of me right there. Yep, they're still there. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there in the bushes. Maybe you guys can see those eyes staring back at me, but they're still here. Good. I left some pumpkin right there for them because they live here. So I'm going to smash my pumpkins from Halloween and feed it to them. No big deal. All right, so that's low. Let's go to mid. This is the sweet spot. I spend most of my time on medium. I said mid, I meant medium. I review too many flashlights and they call medium something different. So gives you a nice idea. So look at how nice and evenly spread that flood beam is. Pretty nice. I'll hold the camera still just so you can see how wide it is. Not the floodiest beam in the world, but it's decent. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. There's 8. Wow. Okay. And let's go to high. This is 1000 lumens. Now, like I said before, this can sustain for at least 25 to 30 minutes. I didn't go much past that. The box says 2 hours and 50 minutes. I didn't check that. I just checked for a half hour. But like I said, I'm never going to have this running for a half hour at a time. Just normally. Even at work. I mean, the maximum a couple minutes each time, right? But you can easily hit that tree and the barn, and I'll put up the distance between me and the barn and me and the tree on the screen. So let's point it this way and let's go to turbo, 2800 lumens. All right, so the turbo, 2800 lumens, you might get about 13 seconds maximum here. And then it starts to dim down. So it's not terrible. I mean, if you're looking at this flashlight as a 2800 lumen flashlight, it's just not. It's already stepping down. Right now it's at 2700, 26. You guys saw my test. So I'm gonna turn that down a little bit and go back to mid. So there is where I like it. This seems to be plenty of light, 350 lumens. But the beam profile here in flood is very nice and evenly spread. So let's start rotating the dial. Do it in medium so you guys can see. And I'm rotating. Look at that. This is just so cool. This is so cool. So if I point it at the barn right there, let's go back to flood and rotate. Wow. So this, by far, is one of the coolest features I've seen in a long time. Like I said, I know the Marauder 2 from OLED has the switch, the toggle switch, where you can switch between flood and spot, which works very well. But there's also there's a lot of LEDs, a lot of emitters on that flashlight. This is a single LED right here, a single emitter. So I would love to know. I'm going to do a lot more research on how they accomplish that. And like I said, I at first thought it was just moving the LED, back and forth within the body. But then they have that electronic diffuser in there in the lens, which I'm not really sure how all that's working. But let's go right here. All right, let's start on Eco and check out that hot spot. Even on Eco, very nice. Am I hitting the tree? I am. And the barn, I am. Okay. Low. Easily hitting these. Mid. Wow. So the cool white color temperature, 6,500 Kelvin. Get a look at that beam. All right. And let's go to high. 1000 lumens. You guys can see, man, this is just a really versatile, functional flashlight. It can be very useful having this ability to switch between flood and spot on the fly like this, stepless. So like I said, if I want it somewhere in the middle, a nice flood spot mix, you can do it. That's something you couldn't do with the Marauder Mini, right, with that toggle switch. So let's go back, and there's turbo. Wow. So very nice beam profile here. Pretty nice beam perimeter too. Look at the outside perimeter. Nice crispy outer edge right there. Real nice hot spot. So you guys can see this is a pretty nice beam here. So I'm going to go to another location. So in the past couple years, I've heard a lot of people say that Fenix has become a little bit boring with their flashlights. And for the most part, I sort of agree. In the past few years, I've reviewed personally a few flashlights from Fenix that are far from boring. But I would say the majority of their lineup needed a little bit of updating. And I think they accomplished that here. The digital zoom feature right here is fairly innovative. And like I said, it's a game changer. There's other flashlights out there that can switch from spot to flood, but to be able to control it with this mechanical dial and get a perfect mix of where you want it, I love it. The sustainable 350 lumens and 1000 lumens is plenty bright. And the ability to hit that 2800 lumens roughly for about 13-14 seconds is still fairly good. And on turbo, it doesn't get as hot as some other flashlights on the market, so that's nice. For me, not an everyday carry flashlight, especially not at 10.6 ounces and 6.11 inches long. But this will see a permanent home either in my car, backpack, or just in my garage for coming out and walking around my yard here. But the LD45R does come at a premium price, $159.99, basically 160 bucks. For the technology that you're getting here, yeah, I was sort of expecting that price tag, but yeah, it is still pretty hefty. If you're willing to swallow that pill, I think you're getting a fantastic flashlight here from Fenix. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for this video. What do you think of the Fenix LD45R? If you want to pick this up for yourself, I will have links down below in my description box. But if you did enjoy this video, please give me that thumbs up. Please subscribe. And go!